There have already been several reports from Commander-in-Chief Syrski about the situation on the front and in the areas of our operation in the Kursk region. We are expanding the area of active operations. The Commander-in-Chief reported that our forces control 74 settlements in the Kursk region. Special attention is paid to the Kursk region, and thus to the protection of all our border communities nearby. The more the Russian military presence in the border area is destroyed, the closer peace and real security will be for our country.
That's just nonsense. He said they're expanding their operations here. Evidence on the ground shows that's true. Apparently somewhere around 1,000 square kilometers of Russian territory where there are Ukrainian troops. And by the way, I need to clarify the difference between where the Ukraine troops are and territory held. This is something akin to what the Russians did early when they allegedly held 6,000 square kilometers of territory in the Kherson area early in 2022. They didn't actually control it. They just had troops in there. So then when it was tested with a big Ukrainian force, it rapidly collapsed and they, quote, recaptured all this territory. Probably we're going to eventually see something like that here. That hasn't happened yet because in similar way that Russia was caught unawares and strategically embarrassed in Kherson region in 2022, they were caught unawares and embarrassed here in 2024. Because just like what happened in 2022, the Russian side did not detect this big buildup of forces in time to have any troops to defend against it. So they didn't think there was any chance that Ukraine was going to attack into Russia itself because they know they don't have anywhere near enough troops to do that or the logistics or anything else. So they didn't put enough troops in there. They lightly defended the border with some frontier guards, which is kind of like partially trained National Guard types from the United States. They didn't have defenses in depth. It was relatively minor. That was a mistake on their part again. And so now then when Ukraine was able to amass a lot of troops without triggering the satellite capabilities, any kind of spies they may have on the ground or drones or anything like that, the Russian side did not detect this relatively large-scale assembling of Ukraine troops. So when they crossed into the Russian border area, it completely caught the Russians by surprise. And so they sent what they call these DRG units, which is basically reconnaissance units in force, racing ahead as far as they could so that they could put their flag up and show media pictures, make it look like they were doing a lot. So now they have this map where it looks like a really big area and everyone's saying this is what the Ukraine controls. Well, that's where the Ukraine troops are, but holding territory is a very different thing than just flooding the zone with a lot of people into areas where it was not adequately defended. Now, Russia is in the middle of pulling troops from various locations. We can speculate where they may be coming from. They're keeping that a secret, so it's not clear whether these are from some of these 200,000 or 300,000 troops that have not been in contact that they're bringing in here, whether it's taking some guys off of the other parts of the front line. I've heard reports that both of those are the cases. It's unclear right now, but Russia is amassing troops to come back. Putin has vowed that he will respond to that, and obviously how could he not? Because he's been embarrassed. He flat out has, and it's been a big morale boost for the Ukraine side. No question about that. However, this is temporary things, and the Ukraine side is almost certainly going to pay a heavy, heavy price for the current good feeling that they're generating right now, for the bump in morale that they have right now, for the bump in the Western media that they're getting right now. This is going to come at a huge, huge cost.